be handled. So these are, and these are all around Fairfax County, companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had a lot going on in the States before you came over. What made you want to come to Korea?
Well, definitely, I think for all of our viewers, it's the language. And I wanted to do just the opposite of what our, viewers are doing, is learning the language, Korean, a little bit more properly.
Right.
And also the culture. So being in this appointed position of being a commissioner, and being Korean American, they were expecting me to understand the Korean. And there was an incident, I think, in our county at one time with a company that owned a lot of people who would, stitch and, make clothes, and just like amounts of clothes as a clothes, manufacturing company. And they had an incident with one of the workers and then the people who owned the company, and with some stitching scissors that they were harassed with and things like this. So the owner was Korean. And so these are incidents that I guess my Korean would work in play, but I felt like I needed to...
Wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I needed to improve my Korean, and I need to also understand and learn the Korean culture more, which made me come back to Korea, and I wanted to be here about 1 year to 2 years.
Yeah.
But now it's 15 years.
Yeah, that happens to a lot of us, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd be here 1 year. That's what I often say, Koreans think, oh, what made you come to Korea for 15 years?
Yeah.
Nobody thinks they're going to be in Korea for 15 years when they arrive.
Yeah.
But then they live here and they get used to it and they enjoy it and they get an education and a job and a career.
Yeah.
And they stay for 15 years and longer.
And the thing about Korea is, I have to say, how we love Korea is, and many foreigners, when they come to Korea and they leave, you'll see them come right back. Most people come back, either for a visit or to come back to work again, or just, Korea just has this thing that they make us stay or we come back to, I think.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting place that gets you very excited.
Yeah.
And when you came in, did you come and start studying Korean right away when you got here from America?
I'm still studying, Stephen.
Yeah, I know, but were you in classes or something? Did you study at Seoul National, Yonsei, or one of those classes?
And I wish I did, because ever since I came to Korea, and Korea makes you really busy, and I think, that slogan, dynamic Korea, should be dynamic Korea, not sparkling Korea. It's just, we're busy, and you get from one thing to another, and for those viewers, who are watching this to improve their English, it's very important that you stick with it, because for myself, I need to constantly, study English and constantly improve at it, or, Korean. But I, don't take the time out as much as I should. And, for anyone who's learning a language, I say, yes, keep up with it and do it, because if you don't, it's just you're gonna push it aside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever regret that, because you had a lot of opportunities going there in America, you could have been doing, who knows, anything. You could have been working in the State Department or stayed with that human rights thing, or who knows what you could have been doing. Do you ever think, oh, maybe I should have stayed?
Yeah, actually, my parents and several other Asian American communities were kind of, I think, hoping and opting for kind of just, guiding me in the path to being a Korean congresswoman. There's an Asian, of course there's many Asian congressmen and women now, but, at that time, Patsy Mink in Hawaii, Jay Kim, and I believe in California and LA, and these were a few in our hands at that time. And
well, there's still only a few.
There's still a few, but a few of the starters. And so I think a lot of them were kind of hoping or opting, grooming me to getting to that path. But I thought, as a Korean American, I need to know the language and also the culture more to be more proud of being Korean too. So, which brought me back to Korea, and I'm still learning. People think of us as teachers, but we're also learning too.
Do you ever plan on going back? Do you think you'll ever head back to the States, or?
Well, I think I'll go back to the States maybe for a visit or stay there for a little while. For about 5 years, I couldn't even think about this because I had a live radio show, so I had to be here here every night, you know, for a live radio show. Wouldn't take any kind of live program.
Yeah.
You know how 생방송 is, right? So I couldn't think about it. But now that, you know, for this new season, things have changed where I can actually take the time to think about things. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're done with the live shows?
Well, I'm not completely done. At least for that one, I'm taking a break from.
That's hard work.
It's very difficult. And for anyone who does live shows every day, especially for people who do live radio in the morning, you know, it's just, I just can't. More respect for you guys.
Yeah, we're doing a live show right now, right, Dorothy? This is live.
That's right, because you can see this going on.
Yeah, and it's so hard to do a live show. I did one for a little while, and it's a different story. It's not like
it's a whole
doing taped.
It's got to be part of you, like when you eat or when you exercise, which I need to do more of. When you take your vitamins, when you do a live show, that is part of you.
You have to be obsessed with it because you have to be there every day.
That's right.
At those times.
And for me, it was every night. I used to do a live show for 5 years from 8 to 10 p.m. every night, and we'd have some great guests. And the thing is, our show was listened to people from all over the world. And so it was, you know, we had to be there. And I don't even know how I dated or met a boyfriend through that, because every night I would be working, but, you know, somehow miraculously, somehow, you know, I was able to date.
5 years.
And that went just like that.
Really?
Just like that.
And then, but did you take vacations in between there?
Yeah, I would take vacations, but no longer than a week.
Okay.
Because.
So then you record ahead?
Yeah, we would record ahead for maybe 1 week. And so every time, if I'm visiting home, going for my brother's wedding, then I would go to the States for literally 3 days, because 1 day it's flying in there, and 3 days maybe there at the most, and 1 day flying back. So, you know, 1 week would go just like that.
No. Yeah, that's a challenge. I wouldn't take on that challenge. You're good. Do you have any dreams of? I mean, you're talking very concretely about what you're going to do in the next 6 months. Any dreams for what you want to do in the next 10 years, 20 years with your career? What are the plans?
Simply two things. I definitely want to, and then the last time I came on, want to go and dive into a little bit more of my design career. Definitely want to do that as much as I can, but of course to do that to funding it, I think I'm going to develop my character a little bit more. Developing the character as in, you know, writing things, more educational things with my character. So education, I'm not going to be away from. I'll still be here, and of course, as well as design too. So it's, as a long time ago I told you, I coined that edutainment.